Okay, I finally made it. A couple minutes late. Sorry about that. Good morning to all of you. Lucinda, John Cook, Mrs. Tom Selleck. Glad to see you on here this morning. Anybody got anything they want to specifically talk about today, or what do you got up? Okay, Monica, a little bit. Good morning. And it'll be noon here pretty quick, but Central Standard Time. Tricky Chi, Leona. I know it's almost good afternoon. Oh, let's see. You got any more? Betty, I see you're on here this morning. Kitty, Mama Kim, okay. Sylvia, glad to see you on here. It is cold this morning here. It's about 8 or 9 degrees. And it's in central Iowa. And a little bit of a wind coming out from the west to the east. And snowing. It's hard to see out there. I wouldn't want to be on the road right now. Pretty Bug, good morning. Bobby, good morning. We started filling up a little bit. I didn't know how many would be wanting to come on today. Hope everything where you're at's okay. Hope you had a good evening. I had a good night's sleep last night. Slept till got 7+ hours sleep for a change. Oh heck. Noreen, good morning. Let's see if I can make this a little bigger. Make the chat a little bigger if I can. So, well, I guess I've got about as big as I can get it. There we go. Now I can set back a little bit. I don't have to put my face up so close, make me look like a pinhead. Lewis says, I woke up with a sinus headache. Yeah, I had kind of a headache all day yesterday, but I don't know what it was from. It was just one side of my face, my right side. Okie, glad to see you in here. Okie Mima. Linda, good morning. You guys having any of this kind of weather where you're at? Bone chilling cold, windy, snow, all the right conditions to stay inside. Don't even need an excuse now. Pebs, good morning. Pebs, I had a breakfast this morning you probably never heard of. It has to do with pancakes. And I make a type of gravy, or you can call it whatever you want. It's not like a regular gravy, but I make it with flour and olive oil, butter, and milk. And when I'm making my gravy up, or whatever you want to call it, it's not really the normal gravy. I use Philadelphia cheese in it as well. Ends up kind of on the smooth, thick side. A lot of taste. And I have I put meat in it. Specifically, this time I put shrimp in it. And I always put plenty of it in, fresh shrimp if I can get it. And I cook the gravy up first. And, shrimp, you can't, if you overcook it, it gets tough. So you got to be careful. But I cook it up the more like a scampi style, just butter, olive oil, and season it with garlic. And I only leave it in there for maybe 5 minutes, and that gets all the taste going. And then my gravy's in the last few minutes. We're starting to thicken up. I throw the shrimp into the gravy, mix it up good, and then I take part of the butter with the garlic and I put it in slow and start mixing it up. And you get it kind of homogenized, and that's your. It's really more of a sauce than it is a gravy. Yeah, it's smooth. You can make it as thick or thin as you want. You can have it by itself, which is that way. Today I chose to have it with pancakes. It's a rib sticker for sure. It'll keep with you most of the day, and it tastes great. So some of you never maybe had something like that, but I grew up with those kind of meals when I was young. Not necessarily with shrimp. Most of the time it was with whatever game we could hunt, and we would put it in there. So Vera says, talking about cooking, talking about food again. Man, I keep on watching your channel on the game back from some weight that I lost. Well, that's good. That's good, Beard. What else we got here? Two Lees. Gabe, how you doing this morning? I'm doing fine on this end, that's for sure. Looking forward to seeing you soon, in person soon, okay? Peb says, it sounds great, Ray. You got to try it, Pebs. You cook them separate, and then you throw them together at the last minute. And that way your shrimp stays nice and tender. And the taste that's generated from the shrimp, you blended a little bit of it in already before you get to the final part. And the result is really, really good. Noreen says, buttermilk waffle mix may want to try. I'm just a person that loves to eat, and if I can throw it together in 10 or 15 minutes, I like it better. Yeah, well, I cook the shrimp separate, Pebs, and I use butter, and garlic in it, and a little bit of olive oil. But I only put the shrimp in there for about maybe 5 minutes. I cook the gravy up, and I put the same taste back in the gravy or sauce. It's more of a sauce than anything, because it is Philadelphia cheese, flour, olive oil, butter, and this time I used half and half in it instead of milk. And I don't use a whole lot of flour in it, but because it does thicken up quick. I mix it real well, cook it slow, and make sure that I've got the flour mixed through it good. And, you pick up a little taste from the bottom of the skillet with it when you're cooking it. And then when you have that part almost done, you throw your shrimp in the other pan with the butter and garlic and olive oil. And it's a scampi style. And you turn it once in the pan while it's in there. And when it's just getting just a pinkish tinge to it, and you can see it kind of thicken itself, the shrimp. And just about that time, you also throw a lot of that butter back into your sauce that you've made. And you give it about 2 minutes. You throw the whole thing together and mix it. And that gives you your full combination. Your shrimp is still tender, which is the secret to the whole thing, and has all those things ingrained into it. So it's all in the timing of it. Okay. Pterodactyl, I see you there. Who else did I miss? Terry. Yeah, Pterodactyl. Paulette, I see you're in there. Who else did I miss? I'm talking if you make cakes. Okay, Bearded. I haven't made any cakes since my wife passed away. She was really the best baker I could think of. Dave Chapo, good morning. Yes, Paul says, as soon as I got on your live, Ray, it started snowing again today. It's snowing good here. I mean, really, it's kind of a fine snow because it's so cold. It's down around between 8 and 10 degrees. Yeah. I haven't had any real repercussions from yesterday yet, but it's coming. It'll be coming like a storm. Those people don't like me very well. But that's their problem, not mine. I had a few comments that, like normal, they don't make a lot of sense. You can tell they didn't watch too much on there. They just come on to bitch a little bit. I sent them down the road. I'm sure they like that. You should try making a chocolate mayo cake. They're good and moist. I know. I grew up with my mother made a lot of those from scratch, and they are very moist and they're really good. And she made the whole thing from scratch, and they didn't last long. About the time they'd get cut, they'd get ate. And I haven't had a real good one in quite a few years. Once in a great while, my wife would make one, but it is a lot of work. And I may have to try that because I do get hungry for it. It's kind of like the other day we started talking about liver, and I went right out and bought liver, and I cooked up enough for 2 meals, and I had it 2 days in a row. A lot of onions in there. Anyway, it was good. And I know it's something you either like or you don't. And there's a lot of people who don't like liver. Beardy says, years ago, they say about you and what they think about you is none of your business anyway. But it's hard, though. It's hard to go by that. Yeah. Well, I'm not worried. They can look back into my past. I'm just a person, a regular person, nothing special. And, I did all the things you do in life or try to do. I mean, my wife and I were lucky. We met each other early. We had a good life. We had children, and we were able to reach retirement. And we loved every minute of our retirement. And, it's just a normal life. Yeah, Paul says, yes, that's the way to make them. I have the recipe in my head. It is an old Amish recipe. Yeah. And we had a bakery when I was a kid uptown that made them too. And they used kind of a chocolate fudge type frosting on it that was really excellent. I love chocolate, so it's probably one of my downfalls. This is the way to make them. I have the recipe. Let's see. I went out and bought liver also, having it today. Okay, Linda. I wonder how many went out and bought liver. Betty says she loves liver and onions too. Mine, just to let you know, I cooked it, and of course I was watching it careful so I don't overcook, because that's the worst thing you can do to it. But you could cut it with a fork when I was done, and it was moist inside, but it was cooked. So it was good. I did flour it, and before I threw it in the pan, and I cooked it in butter and olive oil with onions and I caramelized the onions before I started the liver. It turned out A1, so I wasn't disappointed at all. Martha says she hates missing the lives. Yeah. Well, the last 2 times I've given a little notice out there, which I know helps a little bit. The smell of the look of the texture, extra 100% agree. Yep. Yeah, you can't walk away from it because a couple of minutes will make it just too tough and too dry. There's just a narrow window in there. Yeah, I'm glad we started out with something good to eat. Huh? I got company today. My daughter come over to have some good times to get together. She spent yesterday and today here, which she's always welcome. Glad to have her. I did have a visitor out here the other night, but they scooted. Don't know who it was. My neighbors happened to notice and give me a jingle right away. So Paula says she had a Boost glucose control for my breakfast. I've got some juice in the refrigerator and orange juice and black cherry with cranberry juice in there. I like the black cherry juice, and the kind I ended up getting is kind of Walmart sells. I realize there probably isn't a whole lot of juice in it, but it's just something that tastes good. Did any of you have some exciting meals this weekend or coming up this weekend? I always like to hear about food because it gives me an incentive to cook something up instead of trying to do a frozen meal. This is I love liver and onions today. I'm cooking cube steak, rice and gravy. TDH's birthday yesterday, and a chocolate cake with chocolate frosting. Doggone it, Marla, it's too bad I wasn't down there right now. I would be hinting around to take up a chair at your table for sure. Everything you got there, I like. So, don't see neighbor's chimney smoke. Noreen says so. It's cold, not too cold. Yeah. Ms. Lori says, hi, Lucinda and Monica. I'm getting hungry now and just woke up and tummy growling. Yeah, I woke up hungry today too. I was anticipating a big breakfast and of course I got it. I eat too much sometimes. The richer it is, the more I eat. And I probably shouldn't do that, but with all the weight I lost, I think I can afford a couple of rich meals to keep from going down worse. And I have kind of stabilized my weight, so I'm happy. What is cube steak? I heard you two before, but not sure what it is. For me, what I consider cube steak is I cut it up in cube sizes, about anywhere from about 3/4 to an inch. And it ends up very tender. It'll always be cooked even when you cube it. I mean, that's what I'm assuming that you're talking about. You can add your potatoes and vegetables and all that stuff in with it. Angel says she's making blueberry bread. I never used to like blueberries too well, but I found out that blueberries and biscuits end up tasting pretty good. And that's something, just a new acquired taste within the last year. So Mrs. Tom Selleck said, I had kicking chicken with corn chowder. Oh, corn chowder sounds good. It was delicious. I buy it at Walmart. I usually add a little bit of chicken to it. Do they sell that in that where they have the deli stuff set up there, Mrs. Tom Selleck? Because I just might have to try that. That sounds good. Sylvia says smoked pork chops and scalloped potatoes and green beans with bacon and onions. Ugh, doggone it. Boy, that tastes good too. Sometimes I wish I could just sit down to a big buffet and take a spoonful of everything. You ever feel that way? Paula says it is tenderized meat. Yeah. A lot of times I tenderize mine with a sharp knife. I just chop it pretty good. And then I put my seasoning to it. Sometimes I use a little bit of a meat tenderizer, pat it all in good, add my salt and pepper in there, and then I cook my meat up. If I have filet mignons, all I do is I use a little bit of salt and pepper, and then at the very end I put a cube of butter on top of it with garlic butter, and finish it out that way and let it set for about 5 minutes, and hopefully have a loaded potato or baked potato on the side and some sort of lettuce, and usually that's enough for me. Lucinda said, I think it's round steak, very tenderized. Yeah. Yeah, I have a meat tenderizer I use, the one of those metal maul type deals with round steak, and I pound her out pretty good when I use it. Round steak is a pretty tough steak, and of course there's not much fat in it, and you can season it any way you want, and it ends up pretty decent. Ms. Lori says, howdy Peb's chatting on phone, which is different than tablet, so expect some typos. Beard says, all right, I'm all done. Me and the dogs just had lunch. We had some ice cream, and they had canned food too, and ice cream. I just had a little ice cream. That's all I could eat lately. I'm sitting here. See, John says, I'm sitting here eating Cajun boiled peanuts. Pebs. Now my daughter's here. Yeah, it's Pebs. So it's great having her here, and I'm glad to have her. Paul, says the snow has stopped and the sun is shining bright and no accumulation. I've got about an inch of snow out there, close to it. You're talking about Sylvia, you talk about cube steak, you talk more like a round steak that's been tenderized. We used to coat it with flour, use an egg dip, coat it with flour, and cook it up and it would tenderize pretty good. But I know what you mean. Chicken fried steak. You got your boiled peanuts from around the corner. You guys have a stand or something out there, John? Miss Lori says, was chilling last night. I just got to say quickly, we were winging it in life, but be nice, getting rid of ego and pride. Be nice. We are all connected. Thanks for that, Miss Lori. Good advice. uh, Lauren says, good, sounds good, John. Bitter fisherman. Hey, Ray, that was my father's favorite food, man. He had steak and broccoli, and like a quarter cup of macaroni, and that's what he did for years. That's what he did for a diet. Well, thank you for that, Bearded. Everything sounds good. Lucinda says, I can't have all the, I think she means salty from the peanuts. You can season peanuts the way you want them if you're preparing them. You don't have to have all that salt. You can buy them, I think, salt-free, as a matter of fact. And then you can season them with something else. Oh, let's see. Noreen says, box of brownie mix, 2 eggs, 1/2 cup of vegetable oil, mixed scoop on cookie sheet, bake 12 minutes at 350. Uh-huh. Let's see. It says here, there's a chicken fried steak. Oh, yeah. That's, Mom used to make it for us, cube steak. That's what it used to be, cheap, but now everything is so expensive. Chicken's expensive too. Thank God I don't like chicken anymore. Yeah, there is one meat out there yet that is fairly cheap, and it's pork loin. Around here, a lot of times it gets down to about $1.80 a pound. If you buy it in the loin, about 1.5 feet long. And my wife and I used to chop it up in 3/4 inch to 1 inch thickness. And then we would freeze 2 pieces. We'd package it up, 2 pieces together. And that was a meal for the 2 of us. And we'd freeze it, and it'll keep for up to about a year without too much problem. We sealed them airtight, and that's why we didn't have a problem keeping them that long. And you can season those to about any way you want. And when we thaw them out, we do tenderize them a little bit with them all. And then you can cook them up any way you want, and they're good. It's just whatever your palate likes. Paula says chicken fried homemade is awesome. I learned to make them when I was 14. My mom had a small hometown cafe back then. Made homemade pies and all kinds of goodies. I learned to cook. Did your mom make those homemade egg noodles too? The ones that come out nice and yellow and fairly thick. And you cut them all by hand. And oh, man, that's good. Oh my. Bird says he weighed 353 pounds. Now I'm 125. And chicken kind of, I get tired of chicken after a while, Well, I do know one thing. There is a lot of ways of making chicken, and there are so many recipes out there. I don't know if you could cook them all in your lifetime. I like a lot of the Italian recipes to cook chicken up. And I guess it's because of the different seasonings you put in. All of them are home recipes that they had back then. Barry says, Ray Bone Crusher cooking channel at large. More details available. It's not my recipes. There's just a few things I like real well, and I learned how to fix them. That was it. Not a chef, not at all. Not even a fry cook. So, Lauren says, my husband made fried chicken, and Fertige batteries used pancake mix with added slices. Came out so good. Yeah. I kind of miss chicken from years ago. Chicken was a lot smaller and had more of a taste to it. And we'd cook them, in a lot of grease or oil. And I know it probably wasn't good for you. It kind of clogs the arteries and stuff. But boy, did it taste good. Pep says, "Oh crap! It's 1 p.m. here. All right, sorry, Ray. I have to get ready. If Tulees go live tonight, hopefully we'll see you all there. Love and peace sent." Well, thanks for stopping in, Pebs. See you later. I'll be there tonight, hopefully. Let's see. Bearded wants one of you women to come over to his place and cook him a homemade meal. And he's looking for volunteers. So remember, this guy only weighs 125, so he's liable to eat you out of house and hold there. House and home. Tammy said, "I just wanted to say hi and send you love and hugs. Hope you have a blessed day." Well, thank you, Tammy. Same to you. Beard says, "My pups have a great day." Bebopping. Yeah, I'm going to. Not into talking food, we'd rather see it cooked. Yeah, I understand. I like to talk about food because it gives me something that, like something to look forward to, and ideas of what I might want to prep up and cook. And usually, once I get it in my mind, it takes anywhere from 3 days to a week for me to purchase the stuff and get it on the stove. So I have to think ahead. Well, I can still think. I've been accused of being senile. And so what I'm trying to do now is I'm thinking more in the future and make more notes, things like that, see. That way I can look back at what I should have remembered. You ever do that? Lucinda says, her belly's full and she's dozing. That happens. Every time I get full on something, especially a rich meal, man, I'm out. My go-to meal is my mom's crock pot sweet chili. My wife used to cook up a big pot of chili. And sometimes we'd freeze, the leftovers, and we'd freeze them in big enough bags, plastic bags. For each one would be a meal. And whenever we wanted it, we could just thaw it out and throw it in there. She did that with a lot of her soups. But I loved her homemade chili. It was really good. Let's see. I already made my fighting weight. Now it's time to put on some weight. I know sometimes for some food might get a little boring, but it's never been a boring subject for me because there's so many recipes out there that I loved over the years. And when somebody brings one up that I haven't heard in years or so, it motivates me to see what I can do to get everything together and try it out again. It's like starting all over. So bring your recipes. Most of the time, I'll remember part of the contents. If not, I can go back in here and look at whatever you said, write it down. Most of the stuff that I've cooked myself, I kind of cook to whatever taste I want. The big thing you got to be careful of is the certain things, whether it's yeast or not overpowering anything with seasoning to the point where it takes away from the base of whatever meal you're fixing. Do you know what's a really good fresh brook trout on the Quinnipiac River? I don't know if I pronounced that right. I lived down there, put on the fire. That was good. I liked it, and the dogs loved it. Yeah. I've eaten a lot of fish alongside the river. Ate it fresh, opened it up, prepared it, washed it off right in whatever river I was fishing, and threw it in a pan. Most of the time, it was I would carry a little bit of butter or lard with me, and throw it in the pan, salt and pepper, and that'd be all about the only seasoning I'd have with it. Uh, but it's always good like that. It doesn't have that fishy taste when it's fresh, and the meat is always a little more firm and almost like a sweet taste to it. So, yeah. I think some of my best meals were in Louisiana, believe it or not. Um, the, sometimes places I'd stop looked like a hole in the wall, and it would have such good food you hated to leave. uh, Grumpy old lady, Ray, if you like lemon, easiest sweet treat in the world is an angel food cake mix. Don't buy generic brands. A 20-ounce can of lemon pie filling mixed together, the dry cake, add filling, bake at 350 in a cake pan. I'll try that. I will. I'll give that a try. We will see. If not, if you happen to be anywhere in the area on my way down to Florida this spring, all you have to do is give me your address, and I'll stop in and with the ingredients. How's that? Cleaning my house. Well, how are you doing there? I was going to say good morning, but it's already afternoon. It's 8 minutes after 12 here. Okay. I realize out east you're an hour ahead of me. So easy and so good. Well, it sounds good, grumpy old lady, and I'm more than willing to give it a try. And when I do, I'll let you know about it. Laura says, Mom's sweet chili meat with onions cooked up, put in a crock pot with any 3 beans that you prefer: salt, pepper, paprika, chili powder, teaspoon of sugar, secret ingredient ketchup, and 4 hours on high. Huh, okay. Oh, I have to give that a try. Do you add any tomatoes in there? I know you put ketchup in there. Do you ever add any tomatoes or anything like that in there? Or? I'm going to be doing one only like every couple when I was in the woods, because I have a video of it. Should be interesting. I posted one yesterday. Queen of my house says, crap, I'm having to wash my own dishes. How'd that happen? I know the feeling. But there were most of the time, if we didn't put the dishes in the dishwasher, my wife and I'd wash them together, get through them in 10 minutes. And we always BS back and forth while we were doing. Time went so fast we didn't even realize what we'd done. Dishes and laundry never end. Yeah. Matter of fact, right now I've got a load of laundry in the washer right as we speak, right downstairs. So Edie says, how was your liver and how did you go? Man, I'll tell you what, it came out A1. A1. It was tender and moist. And the onions were caramelized just right before I even tried to cook the liver. And then I put the liver in, put the caramelized onions on the side, and then I put some over the top, not much. Then I flipped it over after about 3 or 4 minutes to cook the other side, and threw a bunch of onions on top of that, and just let it simmer there for a little bit. And then I checked them, to the liver to make sure it was right on, because I like it just cooked. That's all. And it's nice and moist. And I took it off and ate it. It was absolutely delicious. I cooked enough up so I could have a meal the next day. And the next day, I didn't throw it on the top of the stove or anything. I went ahead and microwaved it and it was still tender even the next day after I microwaved it. So I got 2 meals, and I got my tummy full. I did have a loaded potato on the side. Uh, I can't, boy, it's still making my mouth water. So it was good. Let's see. Bearded says he's such a knucklehead. I have 10 different phones that I had in the last 10 years. They're broken. The faces, I want to get them fixed. A lot of good stuff on there. Let's see. Made angel food cake with frozen concentrate, any flavor instead of water. Huh. I've never thought about that. But that sounds pretty good. Queen of my house said no one came to visit. It's usually their job. It's my job to stand there and chat. Okay. Betty says, I'm 72. I've never had a dishwasher. Never wanted one. I've got one, and it's convenient. It took a while to get used to it. As long as you don't overload it, it works fine. You have to rinse the dishes off before you put them in there. I know they tell you don't have to, but my advice is rinse them off, throw them in there, and then you don't have to do the dishes right away if you do it that way. You can wait till you've got enough to fill the whole dishwasher up. Push the button after you put the soap and rinse in there and let it go. You can walk away from it and relax for a while. I know it doesn't take much longer to wash them and dry them, but it's just another way of doing it, and you can take a few minutes off your load off your legs. John says, I would caramelize onions and throw the liver in the garbage can and make a steak. Okay, John. Oh, shoot. Why did you stop making videos on what the hell? Is you talking about me? Well, I haven't ever stopped making videos about them. I don't specifically call them out all the time. It depends on how much crap he throws my way. I haven't changed my mind about the Hales. I don't believe in the things that he's doing to other people. And I still think that John and Michelle deserve a life without being chased all over the place. But that's just my thoughts on it. And I doubt if I'm going to change. Just my opinion and preference. Let's see. Bearded says, Queen of my house, I'm visiting you virtually. Edie says, did you dredge it? Not sure what you mean, Edie. I'm not a cook, like I say. I'm not. See above, forgot an ingredient. Uh-oh. I forgot it. Let's see. Go back, see if I can find it. Got that. How did you prepare it? Lauren, forgot that. I don't think I can get back far enough. Somehow I missed it. I put V8 in my chili too. Secret ingredient that I didn't share with the in-laws. I like V8, and I've always preferred it over plain tomato juice when drinking a drink. Excuse me. I made chocolate cake waffles for my granddaughter with sliced strawberries and whipped cream. You know what, Linda? My wife and I used to do that, and we would end up putting some in the refrigerator. We'd make enough so we had them ahead of time, and we did love it that way, believe it or not. And I've got a waffle maker downstairs, a small one, but I forgot about it. Yep, I did that, or my wife did. I didn't. Let's see. Queen of my house is not John and Michelle. It's everyone. He decides who requires a special treatment. I know it's unfortunate that there's people like that out there in this world. For the most part, uh, when there's a huge argument, like more to it than the argument itself. And, uh, obviously, the more people that get involved, the more sides that are formed and all that stuff, and it gets way out of hand. And it's hard to stop it. It's like a snowball going downhill until it crashes into something. It'll keep right on moving down. So, and Betty says, I agree, Monica. Without being harassed by Jeremy and his minions. Yeah, it's the minions are more hateful a lot of times, and I don't know why. I don't know if they're trying to gain attention by see who can be the meanest and the worst, and chase the most and be the most insulting or what. But to me, it's like a bunch of little kids on a school ground. They found somebody to throw rocks at, and they all gather together to do it. It's not very. It's not very good looking at somebody like that. It's what do they call it? Crowd mentality or whatever. But it's not good. Barry says, "How do you guys like my new picture?" I'm not sure which one you're talking about. Oh, you're talking about I can't really see what it looks like. I'll have to, when I get a chance, I'll have to size it up. Let's see. It looks like Jill Goins must have said something that wasn't very nice. So, well, how you doing there, Helen? She said hi to everybody out there. Oh, figure it was a troll. Yeah, I don't recognize the name up there, Pebs or Paulette. Let's see. You in the dog pound, okay. Bearded. I froze plenty. Yeah, I like them. Matter of fact, I like those better than the pancakes or the waffles themselves, because it's almost like cake made like a cookie, and you can't hardly make a mistake with it. They always taste great. Says here, what was that? No, they don't chase Hales. It's Hales who chases them. Yes, it's funny. In my part, when they started giving me a bad time, it was on one of my videos, and this is when I was following this channel and not Michelle and John. But when I was following Jeremy, I'd make mention that it seemed like he had a split personality because of the way he acted, and that I didn't particularly care for the bully tactics. People, it's not a normal way to act, and that's my opinion, obviously. I never did, at that time, I didn't go over to side with Michelle and John. It's just that I felt that they were being picked on way over. It was way overdone, way overdone. And at that time, I didn't think about the monetary things that were going on or none of that stuff. And then as time went on, they made that side, Jeremy's side, started concentrating on the child. And if you go back to that video that I put up, that was the day when I split away from Jeremy, and I'd put in there that I was done with it because I wasn't going to use a child to bring attention to the stuff. I don't believe in that. But it happened, what they were doing. And it got blown way out of hand. And it became the focal point for everybody out there. It started out over signs, but they started using a child because they weren't getting enough attention from signs being put out. Most people look at it and they say, well, how can I say that Michelle had anything to do with that? Nobody's seen anybody put them up. Nobody called the sheriff's department right away. Somebody pulled them out of the ground without taking pictures and then handed them over to another somebody. It's always somebody. By the time it got back to where they used it in court, you had all these somebodies out there, and they act as if each one of them was a witness. Now, you tell me, if you pass a story that many times, how much of a story is true? And it was nothing more than somebody accusing another person. And now this thing is in a federal civil court. And people swear that Michelle did it. Not one person has come forward and seen it. Not one person is, well, there's people that say they've seen the signs in the ground. They say they've seen it. But how many say that they agree with it? Unless they're following Jeremy. Just telling you. I have a hard time with it. There's too many unknowns in there and accusations. In this country, my understanding, and I may be wrong on this, but you're innocent until proven guilty. And yet, we have millions, literally millions of people saying this woman is guilty. And they keep bringing up those signs, asking if I want them in my yard. And the answer is simple. But I'm not going to give them credence on it. And I'm not going to blame somebody unless I know they did it, because I think it is horrendous to blame somebody of doing something like that, because it's life-changing. That's what I believe. I don't know. I guess I have a different outlook on life. That's all there is to it. There are people that are shitty people out there. And the people that are doing this, that's what they are. There's no other explanation on it. They're just jerks. Let's see. Good job, Ebbs. He was being baited. Hi, Timothy. Nice molding. I like that. Let's see. Timothy, that's diffusion. 7 more days until Christmas. John, I can tell you right now, I am praying for you and Michelle and Bill Harley. I want this outcome to be favorable for you guys so you can go back to a normal life. I know it will never be the same as it was before, but at least you'll have the freedoms where you don't have to look over your shoulder all the time for that particular person. Unfortunately, they've made it tough for you guys in the future, because there's people out there, no matter how it comes out, will not believe anything other than what he says. So it's like they talked into an existence, almost like they talked into existence. Bearded. I heard you the first time, buddy. Pebs, we were not discussing that. Jill Goyne says, I see your point. Queen of my house, Facebook has far bigger reach than a stupid sign besides the road. Yeah. Yep. Let's just live and let live. Yes, that used to be the way most of us did. We realized no two of us are the same. And if we can't put up with people around us, then they're not going to put up with us either. It really comes down to that. I've lived here a little over 22 years. It'd be 23 years here pretty quick. I've never gotten into it with one of my neighbors here. And we talk on a regular basis, each one of my neighbors. I guess I just don't know what it's like to have somebody that would be chasing me down all the time at this point. I just don't. And I'm thankful for it. The good Lord is looking after me. I hope John gets cleared and little Harley, but you can't say much for Michelle. That was Timothy. My heart won't let me come down on Michelle. And I know she says some things that aren't necessarily nice about people. And each person is different from the other. And, it's our choice whether to accept them into our group or not. And it's also our choice to chase people down and make fools out of ourselves, because that's what happens when we chase other people down. I don't like to talk against somebody. I'd rather do it right to their face so that I can talk through it and maybe get another side. That's all I got to say. I realize that sometimes people have habits that we have a hard time tolerating them. but it's our choice to walk away from that. As long as there's no other problems involved in there where we're being tore apart or something like that. And we're always welcome to defend ourselves, and we should. We shouldn't have to sit back in a corner and let somebody tear into us. So it's kind of my throw on it. And I may be sorry for saying some things that might be positive or negative. It's just a feeling I have in my heart sometimes. Queen of Hearts says, I stick to Jeremy mostly, Martha sometimes. I keep out of the rest of it. Yeah. We all have an opinion, and thank the good Lord for that, because he's the one that gave us that right. And our country backs it up, supposedly. Please hit the back like button. It's free. Thank you, Peps. Auto-corrected made you a person. Peps, autocorrect made you person. Strictly, it says hi, John. Hi, Strictly. Strictly corrugated. Timothy, Michelle did Lisa wrong. I understand that, Timothy. And I mean, you know my standing on it. I spoke my piece some time ago. It's just that I'm not going to join Jeremy's group in chasing Michelle down. Hopefully, she will choose to leave Lisa alone and look at it closer. And it's unfortunate that things like that happen. You know, it's a bite in the hand that feeds you is not a good idea, I guarantee you. In my own case, I'll back Lisa from now on. I will. I've always believed in her from the day that I seen her channel, and still do. I haven't lost any enthusiasm whatsoever. And same way with Gabe. I like Gabe. I think they're a perfect couple. So, Cook, let's see. Cuckoo. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. I've watched you for some time. I believe we share a similar mindset and heart of service. Thank you. I hope I said this right. I don't mean to mess up your name up. Ms. Lori says, what boggles my mind is Jerm states how stressful this is for him. What? Bizarre to me. He has to say it's stressful because of the things that he's causing out there. And he wants people to feel sorry for him, not the people he's attacking. So he's going to put that out there. That's the way that type of a person is. Ms. Lori says, what boggles my mind in Jerm states how, yeah. Let's see. Marla says, a little bit of a break. Interesting conversation, Ray. I know people. I hope you don't think that I hate Michelle. When I broke away from the saying much about her, it was because Michelle had said something that was very true, and that is, she felt she was better off before she'd gotten all that help. And at that time, she was standing on her own 2 feet. And a lot of us came in there to fight the battle for her. And sometimes when you stir the pot, it boils over before it's stirred. And then when you get done stirring it, it goes back to boiling over again. Michelle is handling it now on her own 2 feet as best that she can. And I hope everything comes out okay. I know it's tough on her. And I have no intention of making it worse. And in her mind, at least the way she had expressed it back then, she expressed that she didn't want our help in the words that she spoke. And I said that was fine. And I agreed with her, and I backed off. And I've kept that to this day. That doesn't mean I agree with the things that she said about Lisa. I know that she was 100% incorrect in what she said. She won't agree with what I said about that. I'm not talking about Lisa, Michelle, because she has in her mind that there's a different scenario. The Kool-Aid drinkers got to her, and that's unfortunate. The very people we tried to protect her from. we're able to talk her into a different scenario. So we all know what the true story is, and we've went over it I don't know how many times. It is what it is. Let's see, Miss Lori, he creates the drama. Yeah. Lead them with love. We can try. We can hope. Neighbors of cemetery, a lot of sad stories. One is a motorcycle accident. Deer hit him. Oh my. Your neighbor, okay. That's from Noreen. Let's see. Miss Lori, you're welcome anytime, Marla. Sometimes people come here with honest questions as they question with motives. That's from Strictly. Yeah, some of the questions I get are loaded questions without an answer. And when that happens, a lot of times I'll eliminate it. There's people that try to trap you into saying something that is against the law. And those you can't answer. You have to get rid of the person that's saying it. They're doing it with a different motive. So you have to be very careful when you agree or disagree. Oh, let's see. Mara said, Michelle has a rough life. Sometimes she falls back on not being able to have someone to lean on. Her own mother betrayed her in so many ways, and now she's an adult, so should know how to apologize. Yeah, Michelle is going to be Michelle, and as long as you understand how she operates, there's nothing wrong with praying and hoping things turn better for her. I certainly don't want anybody to live under the oppression that she has felt for the last about 4 years or somewhere in that neighborhood. She has her plate full, and I don't wish to add to it. And I've told her that, and I've been true to my word at this point, as far as I know. Ms. Lori says miscommunication. People wait to add things in convo instead of listening to each other. No understanding of personalities, add ego, and it gets ramped up to me. Drama is silly. Listen and learn. Usually, the reason somebody gets into somebody else, especially if they've been long-term friends, it isn't what was said at the time. It's what was said over time. Okay. Hopefully, that makes sense to you. It's a list of things, and sometimes it takes a long, drawn-out talk to get it out of the way, and you can't do it on here. This medium will not allow you to reconcile to that extent. You shouldn't fight on here, and the best thing to do is meet in person so that you can see each other's face, your eyes, so you can handle it better. And it's only my belief, and it isn't always possible if you live on the opposite sides of the country. You want to say, enjoyed Germany's channel at one time. The banner with Holly was enjoyable, and then she wasn't there. And then there was George, and I enjoyed their banner, and then he started with Marilyn. Yeah. The banner back and forth with Holly ended up in some real bad dark alley, if you ask me. And it's probably a good thing everybody doesn't know what all happened back then. My advice is be careful what you pursue. You're going to be very upset. Let's see. I continue to hold Michelle John in my prayers, but I can't forgive her until she asks for it. Now back to cooking. Okay, but I think we're on the same page. Shell Bell. Hi, Ray. Sending hugs and prayers. Well, thank you. Thank you. I haven't seen you for a little bit, but boy, thanks for coming on today. Monica, his channel has been nothing but hate, and that is my opinion from what his actions have been. Yep, it's worse than that. It's hard to describe the whole thing, but it is worse. Pep says, hi, Shell Bell. I have the utmost respect for John and Michelle. Can't say we always agree on everything. This is Heineken, by the way. But I feel, let me get back in here. I held this down. I have the utmost respect for John and Michelle. Can't say we always agree on everything, but I feel John is an everyday man, just trying to live his life and has a dork like Germs just racking up cash. I think you're right. I haven't seen you out in here for a while, I don't think, Heineken. Mara says, I agree, Heineken. We all have different flaws, and to some, the flaws seem unforgivable. I'm not sure exactly, where I draw a line. I guess I look at each person individually when it comes to drawing a line, and I try to avoid it if I can. Maybe I put it out there sometimes when I shouldn't, but I get so tired of hanging back when somebody's on the attack and trying to screw somebody else up. I think sometimes when a person is going to attack another, they should do it in private so they can really settle it rather than out here and letting everybody around them settle it. It's unfair to let everybody else settle it. This recent thing that happened, I guess, on Robbie's show, they finally put it to bed, I think. I don't know. But Lisa confronted it on her show and said, here's how my standpoint was. And each person got to say their own standpoint. Some were invited to air it out and get it out of the way and chose not to. And that's up to them. You can only invite somebody in to say it out. And it's very hard to do it on this medium. You almost have to do it in person on the phone or some way like that. And it didn't happen or won't happen. But it's unfortunate when things like that do. And that's not the first time I've seen something happen that was where a person gets butthurt and then it grew and got out of hand. And in most instances, it wasn't just one item. It was multiple items that made it go that far. Strickland says exactly. Learning to be humble when one is wrong is very difficult for some people. Saying you're sorry goes a long way. It does, except that there are people out there that will say sorry over and over to the point where it's lost its meaning. Saying sorry and go about and doing the same thing over again does not say much for what your word is. Think about it before you say it, but if you say it, mean slice into ring bologna, slice into medallions, fry in butter until browned on both sides, remove from skillet. And then it says next, and there's no next. Marla, fried bologna, egg sandwiches are good. Okay. We used to put cheese on the bologna. We cook it up and put the cheese on it. Yeah, they're not bad with eggs. Yep. Lauren says, I didn't mind to steal bearded from you. Uh-oh. Who'd you steal bearded from, Lauren? I'm sick of the religious content being spewed around, just showing that one should not stay in love and light. Christ consciousness makes life much simpler. Yeah. But it's hard to get a point across unless you really mean what you're talking about. And religion can be a touchy subject because it's hard for two people to think in the same way of anything that's in there. The Bible's is full of parables, and each person will interpret them a little differently. Bearded, you're right. On the back, that last part I didn't put in there. I should have. Don't say it mean. I like that. I'm thinking about making some stuffed cabbage rolls. That sounds good, John. Helen says fried bologna on a grilled cheese is yummy. Does sound good, doesn't it? Bearded says she's like mega snow. She looks mega tired shoveling all that snow. I'm glad I don't have to shovel that snow. Lauren says, I called him, I don't know you, we're alive. I took him away from you. Oh. Fried bologna is delicious, Heineken said. Linda Live, thinking of making some potato soup with egg dumplings to freeze. Mm-mm-mm. I love potato soup. Um, my wife used to put some different seasonings in it, and I don't know what they were, so I can't mimic it unless I find it. She has a little thing with recipes. Maybe it's in there. Half a cup of ketchup, cook until thickened. Add bologna, onions, simmer to 10 minutes. Serve over mashed potatoes. Add 2 cups of milk, half a cup of ketchup. Cook. Huh. I've never heard of doing it that way, but I'd be willing to give it a try. Miss Laura, John Cook, love cabbage rolls. Just do not like the smell of boiling the cabbage. Oh, yeah. You got to turn the exhaust on high. That's all. The hood, the exhaust hood. Steph says, is it snowing there, Ray? It was a little bit ago. I don't have my drapes open here to look out, and I'm in the office right now. But when I come back here, it was snowing pretty hard. It's a fine snow, but it's hard. It makes it hard to see on the road. Made a pot of clam chowder yesterday. Oh, man. You know, the last time I had really, really good clam chowder, I was up in, I think it was Buffalo, New York. My wife and I went out to a restaurant, and it was one of the sides that was served with our meal, and it was good. It was homemade style, made in the restaurant, not canned, and it was good. Before that, believe it or not, we were on the other coast in California, in Avila Beach, and they had a real thick clam chowder there, and it was good. And it was a big bowl of it. And that was our main meal at that time. But it was great. Let's see. I do clam chowder, Monica. It's called salt and pepper, Ray. Salt and pepper. What did I miss? Salt and pepper. Marla says, that sounds great, Pebs. I really like a good beef stew. You know, you guys bring up all this food, and the heck of it is, I like it all. Pep says, I got to go. Sorry, I got to see you soon. Got the Tammy, Lucinda, and John. Monica says, yeah, stew is delicious. It's getting expensive now. And, you know, the other day I noticed they had stew meat, and you know, normally that's kind of like rough cuts of the different meats that, you know, the butchers put out there. My goodness, it was almost I think it was like $9 a pound for stewing meat. We never used to have to pay anywhere near that. Wow. One of the Robbie's giveaways last night. Edie, you did. Edie won one of Robbie's giveaways. Congratulations, Edie. Tammy says she loves beef stew. Yeah. Miss Lori, happy dance. How are you? Happy Saturday to you. Tammy J. I didn't, oh, there you are, Tammy. You know, I read off what you said, and I didn't look at your name, Tammy. Sorry about that. Glad to see you in here. John Cook says clam chowder is good, but I'll take lobster bisque or French onion soup. Lobster bisque sounds super great. I love clams. I like them steamed. I like them in chowder. I just like clams, but I love lobster. And I love shrimp. Bearded says stew meat like shoe leather, and then you got to put it in a crock pot for like 2 days straight, just to soften it up to eat it a little bit after dumping it in soy sauce for a week. Well, one thing you can do, you can cook you up a stew, put plenty of tomatoes, tomato sauce, Put your meat in there. Now, tomatoes will tenderize beef. And a few hours in a sauce you make with all that stuff will soften the beef up, believe it or not. And one thing about it, it's easy to tell if it's soft or not. It gives you the excuse to take a toothpick and put it in there and grab a cube of it and bring it out and taste it. So there you go. It'll come out perfect every time. Just taste a little bit of it, a little at a time. Put plenty in there so you can taste it anytime you feel like it. And by the time it's time to eat it, you'll have a tummy full. The Linda Life, good thing Super Dave isn't here. Oh, I know. By the way, for anybody that doesn't know it, Super Dave has been losing weight, and he's doing a real good job at it right now. The other day, I finally looked to see what Jelly Roll looked like with all that weight off. And man, he's almost, he looks a lot different. That he has took off a tremendous amount of weight. And I hope he reaches his goals. It's a hard thing to do to keep it off. Yeah, we have to be careful how we talk around Super Dave when we're talking about food. We don't want to put him on the wrong track. Terry Bear says, does a crook pot take much electricity? I don't know if it does or not. For me, it was convenient. When I worked out of town, I would start a meal before I went to work and then put it on slow. And when I got back, it was ready to eat. It's a nice way to do things. I'm going to have my leftover pork chops with applesauce for my lunch, Barb. All of it sounds great, Miss Lori. Helen said she missed a good sale last night and 5 giveaways. Wow. I'm going to take a nap. Have a blessed day, everyone. We're a little bit glad to have had you here and come back. I think Jelly Roll's an awesome man. Love his story. Yeah, he's something. He really is. Helen Highwater, Tammy said it's great of a gift, Helen, but glad you're happy. There's a little surprise also. Barry Fishman, I went through on the Gone, I'm not sure what that is, which is a long distance train through outback Australia. The food they served there was like native food, crocodile, kangaroo. You get the idea. Mm-hmm. Well, that stuff you can get here in the U.S., depending on where you're at. Edie, my personal collection isn't anywhere near big enough to give away. And if I do, it goes to my granddaughter. Miss Tom Selleck, I love French onion soup, John. I eat it once in a while, mostly if I'm in a restaurant and it's a soup of the day or something. I love onions just about any way you fix them, but I like that onion fixed. They call it blossom onion or something like that. Man, that's good. Tammy, really, Helen, I like surprises. Helen says Jelly Roll is only human. Crock pots are awesome, Tammy J said. They are. You know, you can fix the stuff, throw it in there, and walk away from it. And they're essential in the kitchen. I think it says Kid Rock and Jelly Roll doing America 250 tour this year. 8 small cities and tons of group joining. Yep. Barry says, all right, Ray, and everybody, I changed my picture. Look at this one. I can't see it in here. It's too small on my chat. Look how big it used to be. Yeah. Blow a couple of them up on your channel, Bearded, and I'll check them out on your channel. Just put them on your post section there. It'll be easier on the shorts, whatever it is. What do they taste like, Queen? Helen Waterside surprise. It's a creepy doll. Uh-oh. Tammy said, no, Helen. Edie says, I bought a sushi machine. Couldn't get the one I wanted. Was sold out everywhere. Makes slushies. Mine will be alcohol-free, soft freeze milkshakes. Uh, can't wait to use it. Okay. I used to have a bad habit of, I love homemade ice cream. And I can sit down and eat easy a half a gallon of it once if I sit down, let's say in the evening watching TV, because I like ice cream that well, homemade ice cream, not bought. And finally, my wife got rid of the ice cream machine because I was out of control. And regular ice cream never tasted quite the same, so I don't eat as much of it. And I don't have as much of a weight problem as I did back then. Baird says, I'm standing in a pair of jeans, and in that picture I weighed about 180. Now I'm even smaller, I'm 125. Those are the pants I used to wear, 53-inch waist. Yeah, a couple months ago, I mean, actually where my, more like my stomach is, I was like 50, somewhere between 56, maybe 58 inches. I've lost a lot in the last few months, so or last 6-7 months. I'm not exactly sure what the measurements are. I know that I've changed my pant sizes twice. Sherbet is needed a snack reward. Yeah, I love sherbets, different ones. I think orange sherbet is still my favorite, and but cherry is my second. Queen of the house, Mike. Okay, not a big fan. I'm not a fan of the fine dining. Small plate size food, always very rich. Okay for a holiday, wouldn't eat again. Ed says, I'd always wanted to try making ice cream. There's a lot of different equipment out there to make it. You can make it in small batches or big batches. Try a small batch, and just see if you like it. I like it because I like it soft, smooth style. Once you put it in the refrigerator and freeze it, it becomes so hard you can't hardly eat it. But while it's still fresh, I love it. I'm making swarmas today if I get my garlic sauce made. I'm not sure what that is, Edie. This is like Henry Youngman once said, my wife wanted to go somewhere she's never been. And he said, try the kitchen. That's pretty good. And the other thing, he says, I take my wife everywhere and she still fights her way home. Honey, can shame on you. Your wife might be looking at this. Tammy said, not sure sizes, Terry, but I would say like a medium-sized one so you can add things. Yeah, like strawberries and chocolate fudge stuff in there. And I like gelato, but it's rich and more sweet. Yeah, once in a while I get a little bit of it from Walmart once in a while. Miss Tom Sillick said I had a 24-inch waist when I got married, and my in-laws said I was fat. Oh, my. That's pretty small waist, actually. Edie says, Tammy, I'll add any doll to my doll collection except that chunky doll. Yeah. Queen says, Ray, is that a flag folded in the background? That's the one that was it was on my father's casket when they buried him. And he was a World War II veteran, and he was in the Navy back then. And he received a accommodation. I think he was in his mid 70s, something like that, maybe closer to 80. He'd asked me if I could look up his ship's captain from World War II. And so I found him through the internet out in California. And my dad wrote a letter to him, and then I sent it out to him. And he got a response back within a couple of weeks. And then shortly after that, an accommodation he had coming from clear back in World War II. And my dad was pretty proud of that. And then not too long before he passed away, my nephew and my brother had got him scheduled to assist in one of the ceremonies at the unknown grave. And my father participated in that. He was one of the oldest vets to come there and participate in one. And then they had a big hoorah together, talking over things from a long time ago, back in the 40s. It was a big deal for my dad. It was one of the last big deals that he was able to do before he passed away. But anyway, that is the flag. And there are a couple of shells in there from the 21 gun salute in that case as well. Bree was considered a hero back in World War II. And it kind of helped guide me into going into the military when I was very young. I went in when I was 17, and I needed that guidance that the military gives you when you're a smart aleck like I was. And I thought I knew everything in the world, found out how little I did know. And they kicked the hell out of me the first 3 months and eased off on me in the next 3 months, and then sent me to Europe for a couple of years till I matured. And then brought me back and put me in the 4th Infantry out in Washington, and I transferred into McCord Air Base over there as a military transfer to assist in some rocket demolition. So I had a very military career, and it helped guide me in better ways and give me a little maturity. Along the way, I was able to get married, have a child. I had another one on the way when I discharged out. And it was probably the best thing, one of the best things that happened to me at an early age was being in the military. It taught me a lot. And like I say, it matured me. I was a smart mouth, smart aleck when I went in, and learned very quickly I was not what I thought I was. It changes you a lot. So that's my story. I'm sticking through it. Through it and to it. How's that? Lee says, wow, boy, you're on there a lot there all of a sudden. Hi, Gabe. Let's see. Gaby Poo. That's what Edie calls you, Gaby Poo. Oh, I didn't know you had a nickname, Gabe. Heineken says, I grew up in a house of jokers. It's definitely good medicine at times. Ed says, hi, Jules. Yep. Jules is a real jewel. Let's what else we got here? What was his name? Where do he actually serve? Which spots? Queen, was that Queen of my house? Was that a question for me, or was? Let me know. Shell Bell, that was a nice memory, right? My dad's a Navy NAM vet. Yeah, while NAM was going on, I ended up in Germany for a couple of years. I was on the east-west border out there, and our territory that we guarded was Fulda Gap out there. And then I ended up in southern Germany for the last part, um, in a transportation maintenance company that was in the infantry. It's a varied career. Edie says, Myra, you get to get one somehow. I'm against war, but Edie, thanks to your father for serving. And that was Ed. Shelbell, hi, John. Queen of my house. You have a good life. Sounds very blessed in many ways. Family, love, respect. The world can be a wonderful place. Yeah. I think the war affected my father. It made him kind of a nervous, edgy person. He worked in sonar, and loud noises would send him off the deep end sometimes. Now, I'm not talking about being crazy or something like that, but it would wrinkle his eyes and put him in a bad mood, loud, sudden noises. And I think it's from being down in the sub chaser. He was on a sub chaser and listening to the pinging all the time. And it has a tendency to mess you up, having that type of sound. It's like ping, 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 ping. And he didn't like that. He didn't like a sharp bark by a dog. He didn't like a start out noises from children sometimes. There were times where we were pretty quiet in the house, other times where we weren't. Now, when we weren't, we heard about it, and we go out on the side and play that. But it was not a big deal. Let me assure you. My father, when I was very young, he was very good with everybody. So as he got older, there was times where it did bother him more, though. So I've had a blessed life, lots of some downs, but always blessed. Yeah. Everybody has a perception of what you think it should be. But if you're willing to accept the ups and downs, you have a great life. That's really the best thing you can do. And you can't have one without the other. Otherwise, you won't know what the other is good or not. So what was I thinking? Hi, Mr. Ray. Well, hi to you too. What was I thinking? Ed, my dad came here alone from China at 13 and worked to bring his family here. Some of us still live here, but others have moved across Canada, and some, the oldest generations, have passed on. Yeah. My grandfather, my mom's father, came from Canada. And he had a first and last name, but no middle name. And I've never seen any paperwork or anything. Back then it was pretty much crossing the border, being in another country. He was young when my grandmother got married, and they were married till he passed away. So I'm assuming it was a good marriage. Lorraine said, Pee Grandpa hated bubble gum and blowing bubbles and snapping. Yeah, sometimes people will snap gum when somebody else is talking. And it's kind of impolite. And a lot of times a young person doesn't think about it when they're doing stuff like that. The only reason it's impolite is because it's distracting. That nobody ever got after any of us kids for popping bubbles at home. My mom would join right in. So it says in 1955 is when my father came here. That's been a lot of years ago. It's 81 years, something like that. So that's a long time ago. Let's see. 35 and 25 is 71 years ago. How did he get here all by himself? Queen of my house. Lots of families moving around the world these days and separated by some serious miles. Yep. When I was growing up, there were some people who never went more than a few miles from the house that they ended up living in. Transportation was a lot different back then, and the stability of the equipment you used to go down the road was different. And most households only had the one car, if any. So, yeah, things have changed a lot. Ed says he's 83, almost 84 now, and in a long-term care facility. Wow. No, I'm 81. I'll be 82 in July. So I guess I'm 81 and a half. Our current generation is at a severe disadvantage. The generations that came before are passing on, and that wisdom is passing with them. Well, the wisdom of the generation that I'm in is probably in most computers at this point. I don't always trust history books. And if you still have somebody that's my age, I'm sure they'd be more than willing to sit down and talk with you about the happenings as they grew up if you have the patience for it. People my age talk a little slower, and we may talk in old style American language. There's a lot of language been added to it since I was a child. Shell Bell, right, Hannigan. Okay. Queen of my house, 13 in today's world are busy on their phone. Yeah. Yep. That says, Tammy, no idea. I don't remember the details. Monica says, wow, Ed, very brave of your father to embark on such a move for a better life of his family. And Steffi says, Ray, July, what date? I am July 13th. Mine's the 20th, a week after yours, Steffi. We can always get together and have a birthday candle between the two of us. I'm old enough that we don't dare put them all on there to melt the frosting off. Angel said my grandfather's first car was a horse named Carl. Marla says, you don't look a day over 80. Oh, heck. Ed says, are you doing well? Must be talking. Oh, Ed Sorcerer, are you doing well? That's from Queen of the House. How lovely for you to have his chat friends to talk to. Steffi says, I will be 65. Nice. Well, the two of us together put our candles on a cake, we'll burn the house down. So we'll just have to share one between us. How's that? Ruth says, hi, Ray. And hi to you, Ruth. Ed said his father had 7 siblings. One died shortly after birth. Uncle I never knew. Yeah. My dad was raised on a farm. And my grandmother on my mom's side was raised on a farm just a little over a quarter mile from the house I grew up in. You can see the farmstead from our front yard. Marla waits for Ray to read her comment. How far back is it, Marla? I don't know how I missed it. Marla Hughes. Don't look a day over 80. I read your, I read it. I did read that. Let's see. Queen of my house. It could have been Ed the talking horse. Yeah. Steffi said ROTFL, I think. I don't know what that means, but she goes down perfect. Terror Bear, 68 this year. I retired at 65, and I have enjoyed all of it except for about the last 6.5 months. So Ed said his uncle died of cancer about 4 years ago. I'm sorry about that, Ed. Sandra, I didn't notice, I didn't see you in here earlier. Sorry about that, but hi. SDW 1960. Michelle Bell says, hope you have a great day, Ray. I'm off to do a few things. I hope you have a great day too. I'm glad to see you in here, Michelle Bell. Megan said, I used to sit with my grandfather, a World War II vet, and just listen to his stories. He was shot over 30 times in his stomach, lost his jaw, spent 20 months recovering. Never had a bad word about it. Man. He's lucky to survive that whole thing. That's a tough one. I know a friend of mine, he was on a tank in World War II and he got shot in the head up here. And he had a steel plate in there. And he kept fighting. I don't know if he passed out or what, but he was using his machine gun when he got hit. And he was decorated for World War II. He ended up being a pretty good friend of mine when I was in my late 20s. That's when I met him. One hell of a guy. Let's see. Monica's, and this is a good idea. Monica says, I put 3 candles for older people, one for the past, one for the present, and one for the future. You know something, Monica, that's a good idea. Queen of my house says, I'm not willing to tell my age. All you need to know is I'm the whole package. Truth, really. And I'll laugh at the end. Oh, let's see. Marla says, that's good, Monica. Ed said his father retired early at 55. I wish I could have retired at 55, but I could have done a lot more things here, exploring our country. And at 55, you're still hopefully in pretty good shape where you can enjoy those things. Let's see, Marla says she's back to cooking, listening. I can chat. Queen of my house says, I can chat now. I found someone to finish the washing up. This is a bag of chips, right, Queen? Ruth says, I retired after stage 3 cancer. I fell 3 months after chemo, and that's what did me in. I broke my bones on the right side of my body, smashed my humerus bone. Are you doing okay now, Ruth? I know that's a lot to go through. It is extremely scary when you get to stage 3 cancer. Hankin says, you're right, Ray. He was grateful to be alive, and he treated my grandmother like a queen. He was my hero. He probably gave you a whole bank of stories so you could pass them on. Oh. Angel said, well, other half wants to go do some stuff, so I got to go. Blueberry bread looks lovely. Will be good for breakfast and coffee. Mm-hmm. Amen to that. Edie says, not if the cake's big enough. Ruth said she's still going through side effects of chemo. Yeah, I've been so lucky not to have had cancer, and my wife was also lucky. Uh, it, it's a awful thing when the doctor tells you you've got that. It really wears on you hard. Don't you think we should have confidence in ourselves, also able to poke fun at other selves with ease? We all have the good and bad balance so perfect. Queen of my house, when I grew up, we used to throw a lot of jokes back and forth, and some of them probably weren't in the best taste, but we seemed to be able to accept it without getting in a big hoorah over it. Money didn't have as big a meaning back then, even though there was less of it. And the part of the area that I lived in town had very little of it. It was hand to mouth a lot of times, but everybody seemed to get through it. People were very much sharing back then. It was a different lifestyle. It's hard to explain to somebody that hasn't been through the 40s and 50s. People weren't quite as touchy. So the only thing I can say. And kids, I don't know. I don't remember being as mouthy back then, and they could have been. I mean, I was mouthy after I got into my teens, but before that, I wasn't. I didn't get to be a big shot till I was in high school. Then my mouth overloaded my butt a lot of times. I'm glad I got it out of my system back then, and people can halfway put up with me. Noreen says she's making some snickerdoodle cookies. Oh my goodness. That's one of my favorite cookies. And I'm going to tell you something. On my counter out there, I've got some, but they're not homemade. They came from Walmart, and they're nothing like what my wife used to make. Hers would melt in your mouth, and you couldn't eat just one. The kid about Lay's potato chips, nothing like my wife's snickerdoodles. I don't hold a touch to being able to fix something like she can. But those were absolutely my favorite. Who says you have a low heart injection? I had to build up. I have chemo-induced cardiomyopathy. Wow. I'm praying for you, Ruth. I really hope the Lord steps in and helps you overcome these problems that are coming along with chemotherapy. Mike said, thank you, Monica. He was a great man. And my dad, who was stepson, learned from him how to be a father. That's why my dad told me. And I learned from both of them. I'm grateful for that, still learning. You're a lucky man, Heineken. You had two people preceding you that were willing to share their life with you. Bruce says those sound yummy, Noreen, and I agree with you. Monica says my favorite cookies are oatmeal and raisin. Actually, I'm not as big a raisin fan, but I do like chocolate chips in my oatmeal cookies. Like I say, I'm a chocolate holic. Sandra, SDW, problem today is kids are not forced to sit on the porch and snap beans with all the aunties. Learned a lot from those times. So I know what you're talking about. We always sit out in the yard underneath an apple tree, just to let you know. That's where we did things like that, and that's where we sat when we were trying to cool off, and that's where we sat when we were having conversations in the evening. So that old apple tree out there. Oh, heck. Teenage years suck. Every parent deserves a Purple Heart surviving those years. You know something, Miss Lori? I loved the teenage years, and you're right. I put my parents through hell. When you're growing up, when you hit the teen years, that's your puberty time, and it changes everything you think about, including. Uh, I think the two most important things when I got my teens was when I get in a car and who my girlfriend was. uh, let's see. Queen of my house says if someone thinks you are, say, ugly, okay. They say you are horrible. Maybe, right? You have to have resonance. Learn that they are just words from strangers. You know, growing up, kids' looks change over the years. And I seen people in high school that weren't the best looking in the world, both male and female. But later on, they seemed to weather the years and look great as they moved on. Some of them you wouldn't recognize from their teen years from what they looked like when they were in their mid-20s. It's funny what time can do to a person's looks, or how they look to you, or your perception of what's good looking. So, the ugly duck turns into the beautiful swan is what happens a lot of times. Who says, I remember when I was young, we looked out for each other. Today is very different. I agree with that. A friend was a friend back when you were young, not just somebody you met on the internet. To a teenager, every parent is not human and knows nothing. That hasn't changed too much, Lori. You respect your parents no matter what, or you should. But a lot of times when you hit certain years, you feel that you know more than they do. And a lot of it is because you're current on things that they're not. But you don't have what they have in experience or the years on this earth. And you don't realize it till you're all grown up and have children of your own. Tully says, where's Tammy? And Tammy says, right here. You guys going to pick on each other? Let's see. That's Gabe, isn't it? Heineken says, Ruth's so true. We had neighbors that looked out for all of us as well. Leona and a beautiful swan turns into an ugly duck. Sometimes. Oh, my. Just making sure you're on your toes, Tully's. Tammy. Oh, Tammy says, I'm watching you, Gabe. Better be on the lookout, Gabe. Let's see. Ed says, I miss the days when we weren't tied to phones and devices and hung out with friends and got home when streetlights came on unless we called. A lot of truth in that, Ed. Of course, none of us had phones in our pocket. The first phone we had was a phone, where there was, I think on our line, there was at least 4. And it wasn't a dial-up phone. You had to get on there and you got the operator and then you tell them the number you wanted. And our number was only 4 digits back then. And the first phone I had when we got married, I know it was at least 4 on there. And I'm thinking there might have been more than that because I was on a rural line back then when my wife and I got married. Well, a couple of years after we got married, we actually got our first phone. The first year I was in the military. So Monica said, then you become parents. You are saying the same things that your parents told you. That's true. One of the first things I did when I retired is I took my phone and I put it up on the shelf. And I took my billfold out and put it up there too. I didn't want to carry something around I didn't need, and went into full retirement. I become very lazy at that point too. Well, what time is it? 1:26. So I think that means I've been on here 2 hours. I think we better call it quits pretty soon. I don't want to take your whole weekend up. But at least we had a little fun today and we didn't get too rambunctious or run over anybody or call each other too many bad names. I hope you guys had fun today. And I truly thank you for coming in here and just having a good time. It's a good time to relax. Don't forget tonight, 2 Lees will be up. At least I believe she will be. I haven't looked on her channel to see if she's posted yet. If she don't come on here, we'll petition Gabe to get on there, okay? Gabe and Jules. And he's in here, he's listening, so. And Tammy's in here, so we can always depend, somebody's going to open up for us. I do have a good time over there, and I hope all of you are having a good time over there too. A lot of it just have an open mind on some of the things that we say and do. No matter what it is, we can figure a way out eventually. And hopefully we get smarter for the dumb things we do. And I don't know what else to say. Like I say, on a day like this where everybody is talking and having a good time, I actually have a better time myself. I need to be careful how many times I go after those jackasses over there with Jeremy. I'm going to call it like it is from now on. I'm not going to sugarcoat a lot of bullshit. But I am going to have a lot more fun. And I'm going to try to always start it out with some fun and hope that it don't get off track. So there you go. I don't know what to have for there. There's John. Hey, I want everybody to pray for John and Michelle and Harley. I want their next week to be fruitful. I want them to be able to walk this earth like the most of us are doing it, and without having to look over their shoulder. And most of all, I want John to be able to go to the doggone hardware store without worrying about some asshole following him around. Who in the hell does that kind of shit? So there you go. I'll see y'all later. Have a good day. When's it end? As John says, ta-ta, right here.